Echoes call from hollow halls, a voice that creeps and softly crawls. Time stands still, the air is.
What if the most disturbing mysteries were all on the internet? From a website that haunts you in your dreams, to webs of lies and dark secrets hiding on pages of the internet, you'll never look at the internet the same way again. Join us as we reveal the 6 most disturbing internet mysteries. A Reddit user, ShadyBusiness15, posted a strange image on May 1, 2013. The image of a device found within his power strip appeared on the subreddit "What is this thing?" accompanied by the text that read, "Violently blew a fuse in my extension cord, took it apart to see the damage, and found this inside." In the image were 2 connected circuit boards and a SIM card. As he waited for replies to the post, he made the same on another subreddit, the Reddit Bureau of Investigation, RBI. On the RBI thread, some users noticed that the odd device had a microphone. They concluded that this was a spying device. One user, Toffer587, added, "Your extension cord is a room bug. Someone calls that SIM's phone number, and the extension cord answers and listens to the room. Spooky." Plus, it turned out that the power strip had a device that worked like a phone. It had a SIM port to establish a connection and a microphone to collect audio in the surrounding area. The phone-like device had been programmed to pick up a call automatically so that the caller could spy on the room without detection. The built-in gadget even featured a circuit board that powered it using the direct power from the wall. For someone to go through the hard work of fixing a bug like this, the poster, ShadyBusiness15, had to be a very important individual with some crucial information. Or maybe they got into shady business like the profile name suggests, with powerful people looking for ways to make them pay. The OP replied that he's not involved in any illegal business. He said he was an ordinary university student who lived in dorms like everyone else. As for the source of the power strip, he stated that he brought it from home, but someone might have planted it after he got to school, since other people have access to the room. After putting the SIM card in a phone, ShadyBusiness15 said the SIM had messages from network service providers that started in 2012, a year before its discovery. That means it may have been in operation since around that time. The OP found a £10 credit on the SIM, suggesting someone had used the line in the past. However, it had no contacts, call logs, or voicemails. Only network-provided texts were present. When he retrieved the number and tried calling, he got an automated message saying, "The service is now closed, and if you have voicemail, you can turn it on." The SIM didn't receive any calls for multiple days, suggesting it had already achieved its purpose or that the person aborted the mission after seeing the Reddit post. While it was possible to get incoming call logs from the network providers, he would need a warrant, something the OP considered too much trouble. Since he brought the power strip from home, he thought one of his parents might be responsible for the device. He said he secretly searched their phones, but couldn't find the number. It was also possible that the makeshift bug was meant for someone else. This was the most common explanation on Reddit. Many users believe the device was used by a government agency or other powerful entities for espionage. Since the OP was a student who wasn't engaged in those kinds of things, it's likely that they weren't supposed to have it. Perhaps his parents bought it at a clearance sale or got it through other means after the former owner discarded it. ShadyBusiness15 updated the thread for the last time in May 2013, leaving us with an unresolved internet mystery. In July 2012, a New York man encountered a strange incident that sparked a series of online investigations and some disturbing events. According to his post on the Ask Reddit subreddit, he was riding a packed train from Midtown to the financial district. He came across a man in ragged clothes who smiled faintly at OP. When they reached 14th Street, the man handed OP a note and a $50 bill. The man left before OP could make sense of the gesture or ask questions, so he turned to Reddit users for help. The note was white, with some handwritten inscriptions on both sides. On one side were 2 lines of letters that didn't make sense. The other side had more letters, this time divided into rows and columns in a word search puzzle style. It's handwritten on a 3x3 square piece of paper with no identifying marks and no watermarks. There's a hand-drawn grid, and in a couple of shots, the cells of the grid are combined. The note has random characters written throughout it, and the bottom quarter is filled with random shapes and numbers. Maybe I'm just reading way too far into things and he was just another crazy New Yorker. But I figured it would be neat to see if anyone has run into this similar situation. Do any of you have any idea as to what the note says, if anything? While many were quick to dismiss it as another crazy prank, some users revealed that it looked like a bifid cipher, a coded way of writing invented as early as the 1900s. They got to work and discovered the secret message: "There's plenty more money to make. Figure this out and prepare to meet July 1956th and 6th hot dog stand outside Rue 57 Cafe. Ask for Mr. Input." As people were figuring out the message, OP received another message, this time on Reddit. It was thought to be from the same man he met on the train, and the new message said the OP had broken the rules when he sought help on Reddit. "You have managed to find the message with the help of friends. You changed the rules. Now so will I. July 12, 4 p.m. Find the Blue Jay at 6.5 and 56th and tell him you are the last." The message read. The 6.5 and 56th in the message refers to the 6.5 Avenue of 56th Street in New York. That location has a business called Gotham Skincare, and some believe this whole thing had something to do with Batman. There are more clues supporting this theory on the first note. The July 19 date was a day before the release of Batman's Dark Knight Rises. Someone was so sure it was a marketing campaign for Batman that they called the marketing company Leveraged Marketing Corporation, which he said had an office beside the stated address. He got an admission from the person on the other end, who directed him to call someone named Maggie. However, this didn't lead anywhere. Another Reddit user thought the account that sent the second message had some clues in their profile name. They converted it to an IP address, which was traced to an intelligence military base in Arizona, Fort Huachuca. Perhaps the OP was being tested for a possible recruitment as a spy. There was no way to confirm this, but someone else found something related to spies. The Discovery Times Square Museum was hosting a spy exhibition on July 12. What if the whole idea was a marketing campaign for this event? This, however, was not the case. Someone who worked for the marketing agency running Subway assured everyone they had no connection with the Subway man. Coded notes or Reddit messages. Left with dead ends after dead ends. Some Redditors in New York decided to show up at the venue on the specified date. They showed up in large numbers to find out what was going to happen. The OP, Delver of Secrets, was present too, but nothing came of it. This showed that it wasn't a marketing stunt, because the huge crowd and the media attention that came with them would have been a good opportunity to do a reveal. Perhaps a more subtle approach from New York Redditors would have been more effective. If the person sending the coded messages wanted to recruit or give a message to OP, the large crowd would have put them off. But I guess we'll never know now. That's because on July 13, the OP removed all the posts from Reddit with an explanation. "Received a phone call today threatening violence against me and my family, going so far as to name members of my family and their addresses, unless I delete this post. The caller also told me not to show up on the 19th and to inform anyone planning to show up on the 19th that nothing would happen. This will be my last message from this account before I delete it. I'll also be changing my number later today. I am sorry if a resolution to this never happens, but I'm not willing to risk my family's safety for a few extra dollars." This was the last anyone heard from Delver of Secrets, and the mystery was never solved. In 2006, a woman slept like she would normally do every day. It had been a fairly routine day for her, nothing out of the ordinary, and she went to bed thinking of the next day's activities like she had done for some time. That night she had a dream. Just some random faces and places she didn't recognize, and others she did. It wasn't frightening, and there was nothing special about the dream. At least, that was what she thought at the time. Until a couple of days later, when she had another dream. It was a different dream, but something stood out. Something looked familiar even though she couldn't quite work out what it was. Then, she had another dream, another night, and things became clearer. One man had appeared in all the dreams. Perhaps it was just a coincidence. Maybe her mind was playing games with her, but she had more dreams, and the same man appeared over and over again. This wasn't a man she remembered seeing before. She thought hard about the man, but couldn't say his face was familiar. So, who was he and what did he want? The dreams appeared random, except for the appearance of the same man. Worried about her mental well-being, she sought help from a renowned psychiatrist in New York. The psychiatrist, too, had never seen or heard anything like this. Scientists say we dream about people whose faces we've seen before, no matter how brief, but the woman was adamant she didn't know the person. Thus began the story of the dream man. He was a middle-aged man with some peculiar features, bald and enormous eyebrows. The patient sketched out the face for the psychiatrist, but that didn't supply any answer. The psychiatrist would go on to look at the image for days after the visitation, until one day, he was attending to another patient who saw the image and pointed out something. The new patient, too, had been dreaming about the man. Was this something his colleagues had experienced? Our psychiatrist friend wondered. So, he sent the image to other psychiatrists, who showed it to their clients. Surprisingly, 4 more people with recurring dreams said they had also seen the same man in their sleep. Then, they extended the inquiry to the general public, and amazingly, more than 2,000 people claimed to have had a dream with the same person. The participants frequently described the man as, "this man," and in the year 2008, a website appeared online. The URL was thisman.org, and it was dedicated to detailing all the information gathered about the mystery man and to help people understand why he was appearing to them. However, no one has been able to establish any common relation among those who have seen this man. Instead, what we have are different theories aiming to explain the reasons the man was appearing in people's dreams. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung proposed one of the theories, known as the theory of collective unconsciousness. He stated that humans share a common consciousness. That's why different people are able to see something and classify it the same way. Jung's psychoanalytic theory says the man is an archetype that our minds create in response to stress, anxiety, and other related conditions. Another theory states that this man represents the ordinary aspects of our lives. Since we do not remember the precise faces we see in dreams, it's easy to arrive at the image of a man with common or ordinary facial features. A more interesting theory, the dream surfer theory, believes in a real individual, the dream surfer, who can impose themselves into other people's dreams through psychological means. Some even think a corporation may have devised the plan using some unseen technology or discovery. A religious theory also exists, with believers calling the man a manifestation of a supernatural being. They say the dreamer must follow everything the man says, or risk missing out on something important. However, you don't have to worry if you've ignored advice from someone who looks like this man. In 2010, Italian sociologist and marketer Andrea Natella revealed everything we need to know about this man. It's a hoax, a marketing project created by Natella. The origin story was a fabrication, and the image was modeled after his father's old picture. Now, we know it's a fake, but how do we explain the people who saw the man in their dreams? More than 8,000 people have made the claim, several of whom did so after Natella's revelation that it was a hoax. Were they all in on the hoax? No. To understand that, we turn to another theory of the dream man, the dream imitation theory. It states that people are seeing the man due to imitation. When people are drawn to the image of the man, they become so deeply impressed that they start seeing this man in their dreams. It is a scientific psychosociological theory that can apply to other things too. Basically, some of the things you come across can get stuck in your mind. You can recollect them at a later time and sometimes reprint them when you're asleep. So, if you see the dream man in your sleep, you have us to thank. Before we go any further, I just want to ask you for a small favor. If you're enjoying the video so far, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. We recently hit 100,000 subscribers, and that's all thanks to you. Our 100K special surprise was revealed, and we had many positive responses from you. Our next goal is to hit 200K before the year ends. It feels impossible, but hey, it's free to dream, right? Also, there's a hidden word somewhere in this video for you. Let's see if you can find it. Now, back to the video. The Argentina subreddit was thrown into a state of panic after a user with the username Norum posted a photo on June 16, 2020. The post stated that they needed help finding a woman named Ima Rosario Colque around Barrio San Juan in Argentina. They attached a photo of the woman who had been missing since the 12th of June, with the phone number to call if anyone had any information on her whereabouts. The OP elaborated further that Emma told everyone she was going to shop and left with her phone, purse, and documents. She was wearing the same clothes in the photo on the day she went missing. Other Reddit users quickly shared their concerns and wished that Emma be found as soon as possible. Others offered advice that could help them find her, such as calling the shop she went to and asking for CCTV footage in the surrounding area. The OP stated that they've been to the shop without success, but haven't considered asking for CCTV footage yet. Some suggested tracking her location with Google Maps or asking service providers for help, but the OP said her phone has been switched off for some days. Some people also advised the OP to simplify the search by sharing it on Facebook and seeking help from users who have a significant following on social media platforms. Some days after the first post, Norm gave an update, saying they got access to Emma's Facebook and Google accounts and have been able to summon and question people with the help of the police. They said they pasted posters with her picture, looked at security cameras, and are currently checking hospitals in the area, but they've not had any success locating Emma. They also said Emma had another job, and they're trying to reach her employers. Finally, they thanked everyone and promised to give a daily update on how things unfold. However, some things stood out in the message. The poster mentioned that Emma was their mother, yet they said they were just finding out that she had a secondary job. These add to the number of things that have looked strange since the first post. Remember that the post appeared 4 days after the woman was last seen. The poster also seemed reluctant to report the case to the police. Who exactly is Noram, and are they hiding? On June 21, a news article surfaced online that Ama Rosario Colque had been found, but it was not good news. That's because she was found in her house deceased. The report said 49-year-old Ama was found lifeless at her home. The police said she was found buried in the garden beside her house after being murdered with a knife. Initial observations showed that Ama had 3 stab wounds to her head and body. Her 20-year-old son, who was the prime suspect, was taken into custody. The report added that Ama had 3 children and lived with the youngest, Daniel, who reported her missing to the police. He was the same person arrested in connection with the murder. The police noticed that he continued to give contradictory reports and ordered the search of their home. He subsequently confessed to the crime, but police say he has mental health issues. Considering he lived with Emma and reported to 3 police, he was also likely the person who made the post on Reddit after 4 days. When the news reached Reddit, people were horrified to find out they may have helped the young man get rid of evidence that may help the police convict him. But Naram commented on the post saying that Daniel was his brother, and that he was not 20, but 25 years old. It would have been okay to stop people from suspecting him, but one of his comments from a year before said he was 19. That means he'll be 20 at the time of the incident. Some Reddit users also found his strange comments about hallucinations some months prior. Some more comments proposed that he was Daniel, but he denied them. It's also far-fetched that he'd be making comments on Reddit while under arrest. But why he'd say he was 19 just a year before remains a mystery. Perhaps the 2 brothers had access to the same Reddit account. But with no update on the investigation and conviction, it would be hard to tell. The already confusing case became even more puzzling after some comments in December 2023. Someone tagged Noram, and what followed was an unusual exchange where the OP claimed something entirely new. He said the Reddit account belonged to him, and that he had given it to his mentally unstable friend, who was looking for his mother. This raises more questions, such as why would anyone do that, and not state it for such a long time? Did all 3 people access the account at different times, or is something more sinister going on behind the scenes? Do the police have the right person in custody? I'd love to know what you think about this case. On the 1st of January 2020, a missing persons report appeared on NamUs, a website for helping people find their missing loved ones. The person being reported missing was 18-year-old Jesse Govange Nima Hopal. He is Hispanic, and his last sighting was on July 14, 2017, in Denison, Iowa. The same missing report appeared on other websites, including Iowa's official state website. However, most of these reports have been disappearing in recent times without explanations. Before their disappearance, all the posts had the same things in common. They all appeared rushed, with very little information about who Jesse was, what he did, and how he disappeared. Despite the lack of information, online investigators like Tawny Frogmouth on Reddit have been looking closely at the man in question, leading to the discovery of various disturbing details that will leave you thinking for days. As soon as I looked at the reports, I couldn't help but squint at the reported age. Jesse looked nothing like 18, but we'll let you decide with the other information you're about to learn about this man. It appeared like Jesse was big on social media before his disappearance, but disturbingly, many of his posts were posted after he was supposed to be missing. So, was he truly missing, or was someone using his old media to assist the search? You don't have to look too closely to discover it wasn't the latter. As for whether he was truly missing, everything we'll discuss here will shed light on that. Right here on YouTube, there's a channel named Jesse Nimaja Pol. Most of the videos show the missing Jesse performing various Spanish songs. The channel has 7 similar videos of Jesse singing from a room. But something doesn't add up when you check the upload dates. The channel was created in January 2018 and all the videos were uploaded between January and March that year. Jesse was declared missing 6 months before the YouTube channel came to life. Some of his videos incorporate slideshows, and one of the images has him in the same outfit and location on his missing person reports, confirming he was the same person declared missing. Again, you can see in the videos that he looks older than 18. While he appears to be dressing like a teenager, most of it comes off like an older person's version of what a teenager is thinking, like he's trying hard to look younger. But those aren't the only strange things on Jesse's YouTube channel. The profile picture on his channel is that of a boy, with the same boy appearing in slideshows within his videos. There are other young boys in the videos, and none of them look like Jesse or a younger version of him. They're also likely not his children since no one else is featured in the pictures of the boys. Jesse has a Twitter account from 2017, but after uploading his last video in March 2018, he turned back to Twitter, creating another account in April 2018, again months after his supposed disappearance. He stated on one of his profile bios, "I am a boy model and dancer-singer. I am 13 years old." He backed up the claim with the picture of a child with the caption, "My new photo, I am handsome." He created a LinkedIn account claiming to be a 4th grader. Jesse continued to pose as a child under different names, but his online footprints have the same thing in common, some far more disturbing than just using an alias or claiming to be younger. Many of his posts are sexual in nature. He constantly uploaded indecent videos and images, with some containing kids. He posted himself in children's clothing, with toys, stuffed animals, backpacks, and other children's accessories. He seemed to be obsessed with children, and looking like one. When he posted kids, he added strange texts, heart shapes, or showed only their mouths. Jesse's troubling online persona made more sense on June 12, 2018, when police arrested a man in Texas. He was a 38-year-old Pedro Nimasha Pol taken into custody for sharing CP on Instagram. Not only was their last name the same, but the resemblance was unmistakable. It appears Jesse Nimasha Pol is a made-up name for Pedro Nimasha Pol. Most of his online accounts stopped posting around the time of this arrest, further confirming that the two people are the same. The police found over 600 videos and images of CP at his apartment. Perhaps his online portrayals and posts were his way of advertising this illicit content. His videos showed screenshots from his Instagram account, clearly a way of giving potential buyers his profile in case they wanted to contact him for the content. A YouTuber, The Internet Investigator, made a video where they revealed that the police were investigating Pedro when he disappeared from Denison, Iowa. The authorities interviewed him but let him leave, as they searched for evidence to prosecute him. That must be why he disappeared from Iowa. Sadly, his arrest in Texas didn't end his crimes. However, in 2020, a new YouTube channel popped up. It was titled Poxito Chingon, Pedro Again. The same style, with the Spanish songs, slideshows of kids claiming to be a child and dressing like one. The only difference is that this time, his location is listed as Guatemala. Turns out Pedro was charged with 2 counts of CP possession and was offered a plea deal that resulted in only 254 days in prison. And now that he has resumed his illegal business in his native country of Guatemala, he's essentially free from the authorities in the US. No one knows what he's currently up to, as he has gone silent again after his videos started gaining attention. Angeline Eileen Pete was a 28-year-old mother of 1 who lived in North Vancouver, Canada. She loved living freely and enjoyed the outdoor lifestyle. Hence, she'd often go away for days, weeks, and months, enjoying various circus shows. Angeline was a regular hitchhiker around the Vancouver area. However, she'd often return home to a more conventional schedule and spend time with family. This was important since she had a kid she couldn't do without seeing for a long time. She also had a boyfriend, Robert Calden, who sometimes followed her on the trips. However, the relationship between the two was far from smooth. They often got into different fights, and the people closest to them say their fights have a way of turning ugly very quickly. Angeline also frequently shared her adventures on her Facebook account. When she is away, relatives and friends can find out where she is or what she's up to through her social media page. The only time she strayed from this routine was in 2011. She had been away for months without contacting her family. At first, Angeline's family thought she was just having too much fun at the circus. But this was not the case. While she would usually go away for long periods, It was unusual to stop contacting relatives or skip her Facebook updates for such a long time. Closed relatives started calling her, but none of it would connect. They also dropped several Facebook messages without any answers. Every time they got on Angeline Pete's page, it was apparent that the account holder had not logged in for some time, with the last post being an image of Angeline. The image told a story, and it was where the investigators started piecing the mystery together. It had no caption to offer context, but something stood out. Angeline was pictured with a broken lip. It appears she had gotten into an altercation, or had been hit by someone. The picture was from May 20th, 2011. Angeline and her boyfriend Robert had just had a drink in downtown Vancouver, and were ready to get a ferry back home. Before they got a ride, an argument started between the pair that developed into a physical fight. The police arrested Robert when they noticed Angeline's busted lips. But nothing came of it since Angeline declined to give a statement. She insisted on going home, and the officers had no choice but to grant her wish. After that, Angeline posted the image to Facebook, and it was her last sighting by loved ones before her disappearance. The picture paints a disturbing scene, which may help us understand her disappearance. Could Angeline be passing a message with the image? Could she be planning to disappear with the image as a form of explanation for her loved ones? Was Angeline unsure of her safety after the fight? Was that why she posted the image as evidence to help authorities? And if that was the case, why didn't she give a statement to the police? Perhaps she refused to give a statement to avoid implicating herself. Close relatives said Robert wasn't the only one with a tendency for violence in the relationship. Angeline also had a history of escalating issues, especially when she's had too much to drink. In 2009, Angeline got into a bar scuffle that landed her in jail. But this wasn't her first rodeo with the law. That's why the 2009 fight came with conditions. She wasn't allowed to drink and be outside past 9 p.m. She broke these two conditions and may choose not to press charges against Robert to keep her violations under wraps. One of those who commented on Angeline's propensity for fights is her ex-boyfriend, who claimed to have been on the receiving end of multiple black eyes during the course of their relationship. Robert was similar to Angeline in some ways. The two often got into fights, with at least one of them ending up with an injury. After their fight at the bar, officers went to her house to investigate the violations of the conditions outlined to her. However, the authorities could not do so since they couldn't get anyone to answer the door. As a result, her arrest warrant was issued 5 days later, on May 25. But when officers arrived at the home, they found only Robert, who was speaking with Angeline on the phone. The officers also spoke with her on the phone, but she told them she wasn't around the place and could turn herself in at the time. Robert said she returned home the next day and left shortly after. No one has seen her since then. Did Angeline Pete run away to avoid the authorities? Or was Robert hiding something? Was she truly the person the officers spoke with a day before? Or was it a perfectly executed plan by Robert? Isn't it convenient that he was the last person who saw Angeline? Since then, Angeline has never taken from or added money to her bank accounts. Shouldn't she need funds to get supplies along the way, if she were running away? Or did she get help from someone and didn't require her to withdraw from her account? Or had she been planning this for a long time and had everything she needed hidden somewhere? Angeline's case presents many questions that we hope her family gets answers to someday. As always, feel free to share your thoughts below. With that unsettling case, we come to the end of this episode. If you've had a good time, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We upload videos like these almost every day, so you don't want to miss out. If you don't want to wait till the next video, there will be more videos on your screen in about 3 seconds. I'll see you there. I'm out.